Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another video. If you are new here and watching for the first time, hi and welcome. My name is Natasha, and this is a space where we share experiences, we learn, and we grow. If you have not subscribed to my channel as yet, please do so just by clicking that subscribe button below. And for all the returning family members, welcome back, fam. You know the house rules. You make sure that you're subscribed to the channel, give the video a thumbs up, we interact in the comment section below, and we share the video so that we can reach more people. So I learned something a couple of days ago, and I thought it was just for me, but for I think the past 2 weeks it just kept on ringing in my mind, and I felt like it was very important for me to share it because I think a lot of people need to hear this. So, I'm here to tell you that heaven is not retirement, and the work that you do on earth matters. So, this is what this means. Have you ever found yourself in a place where you feel like you are doing the same thing day in and day out? For instance, you wake up, you prepare for work, you go to work, and sometimes you are going to a job that you don't even really enjoy, that is toxic, that is not good for your mental health. For some people who are very lucky, they will be going to a job that they enjoy, that they find fulfillment in, and that they look forward to every day. It's just that cycle of waking up, going to this job, you come back, have a bit of rest, have to prepare dinner, run a few errands, prepare for the next day, go to the job again, come back. And sometimes it just feels like we are living this monotonous life where we're doing the same thing every day. And it's even worse now because we are living in this society where the economy is not good. Things are becoming more expensive. Life is becoming more expensive. A salary, just one salary, is not enough to help us to survive lately. You have to have more than one source of income to just help you survive. Like things are just starting to feel unbearable. It's starting to feel like it's hard to live. And you end up being in a place where you ask yourself this question of, what's the point? Like, what are we really here to do? And we question ourselves sometimes that we're doing all this work day in and day out, but is it even worth it? And I found myself asking God this question: is the time that we are spending on this earth honestly a waste? Because we are born and we spend half of our lives in school. From there, you have to struggle to get a job. And then basically you work to pay bills. That's how it feels, you know? And I was like, truly, we are not born to just, pay bills and die. There has to be more to our lives than just stressing, spending our entire adult life stressing about finances, stressing about surviving, and all these crazy things that are happening in the world. And I remember coming across this video where this person said, we are better off in heaven rather than being on this earth. And that clicked in my mind, and it sparked an interest for me to research about the afterlife. What is going to happen when we are no longer on this earth, and what actually really happens in heaven. So, we've been taught, well, I've been taught rather, that heaven is this place where we are going to just relax. It's a vacation, it's a retirement home. We get there, settle ourselves, and have the best time of our lives. And I've always been taught that it's this place where we are going to go to where angels are just singing hymns and playing harps the entire day, you know. But I remember reading the book of Revelations, and also there's a book I read by John Bev, and he said something so powerful. And he said, people think that heaven is a place where we are just going to be listening to angels play harps, and we're going to be singing to hymns. But they don't realize that there are kingdoms to be built in heaven, there are positions to be held, and there are decisions to be made. Therefore, it's not just about making it to heaven, because there is a work in the afterlife. And I just want to reference the scripture from Revelations, chapter 21, verse 1. So I think a lot of people don't know about this scripture, but this is the scripture that made me realize that there really is an afterlife. And you know how we are usually taught about the second coming of Christ, and certain people don't believe in it and whatever, which is okay. But we are told in Revelations 21 that there will be a new heaven and a new earth. And it says, "Then I saw a new heaven and a new earth, for the first heaven and the first earth had passed away, and there was no longer any sea." So this scripture tells us specifically that there will be an afterlife, there will be a new heaven, there will be a new earth. And this for me was proof that the time that we spend on earth is not a waste, and that God is actually watching what we do with the gifts, the talents, the abilities, and the skills that we acquire on this earth and the ones that He has given to us. And to be honest, this conversation was specifically sparked by my own situation that I found myself in, where I constantly did things for people's approval. So, for example, whenever I was taking care of my home, when I cook, when I clean, when I take care of my son, when I take care of my family, I always felt the need to show people that this is what I'm doing. I always felt the need to prove to people that I'm a good steward. I'm taking care of my home very well. I'm taking care of my son. I cook, I clean, and I'm excelling in my job, and all these things that I would do and I would want to share with the world, to show them that I'm actually putting my best foot forward, and I am doing the best in whatever God has given me. And immediately when I learned this concept that God is watching what we are doing with what He's given to us, I honestly lost the interest to even try and prove a point to anyone. It's important for us to not seek validation or approval from the world about how we take care of our homes, our businesses, our marriages, our children, our family, our friendships, our education, and or whatever it is that God has placed you to steward in your life. And you don't have to prove it to the world, but you only have to prove it to God, because you're not working for human applause, but we are working for eternity. This was honestly a game changer for me, because it got me to a place where I no longer did anything for anyone's approval, whether I am taking care of my home in the most immaculate way, whether I'm excelling in my job, whether I'm excelling in motherhood, you know, I no longer felt the need to prove it to other people, because I know that God is watching what I do. And even if the world doesn't clap for me, it's okay, because God is watching, and what I do on this earth is going to echo into eternity. And I just want to encourage someone out there that I know sometimes it feels like we're living this monotonous life, we're living this difficult life. We question sometimes if, being on this earth is even worth it. And we question sometimes that, is this really all there is to life? Just dealing with problems and being stressed about money and, being stressed about all these crazy things that are happening in the world. I want to encourage someone out there that show up as best as you can in whatever God has called you to. Whether you're a chef, a teacher, a makeup artist, a homemaker, a stay-at-home mom, a doctor, an engineer, an artist, a singer, a corporate girly, whatever it is that God has called you to steward, whatever it is that God has called you to use or to be in or to be a part of, to bring glory to His kingdom. Show up as best as you can in whatever that is. Work at it as though you were working for the Lord, and don't get tired, because your work is not in vain and heaven is watching. There's a scripture that I really like from Colossians chapter 3 verse 23, and it says, "Whatever you do, work at it with all your heart, as though you were working for the Lord and not human masters." Once again, remember, your work isn't in vain. Heaven is watching. Heaven is not retirement. There's work in the afterlife. God sees what the world ignores. And you're not just living, but you're building for eternity. Stop seeking worldly applause, because you are building kingdoms. The afterlife isn't harps and hymns, but it's purpose. So what you do on earth is going to echo into eternity. So I know we may be tired at times, and you will get tired, you will question, you will feel like, is it even worth it? But don't quit, because God is watching. The world may ignore you, but heaven won't ignore all the work and effort that you put in on your earthly life. We are not working for human applause, but we are working for eternity.